And thank you for staying with us. And if you stay with us here on Open, you know we introduce you to a variety of different people. And our next guest, well, we're talking about the Coffeehouse Resistance Brewing. And guess what? The Coffeehouse Resistance was brewing hope in desperate times. It's a story about it building community, claiming a home, and fighting for dreams. It's written by a Riverdale neighborhood coffee shop owner who became unsure about living the American dream following the 2016 election. And joining us now to share a little bit more about her new book is Sarina Prabasi, who is the author of Coffeehouse Resistance and co-founder of Buunni Coffee. I said I was struggling with names all day.
Thank you. That was good.
To have you. I did good, right? Thank you. Glad to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So you've actually taken your experience and you've actually got a business, but not just a business, a book and a story is being told.
Yeah, on one level, it's a very personal story. It's our story, my husband and I, of moving from Ethiopia and coming to New York City, starting a business, and really following our own dreams. But it's also a political story in the sense that a lot of things are happening in the country. And after the 2016 elections, our coffee shops became places for people to gather, community members to really share their feelings, and then to become places for like community activism. And so that's what the book is about. It's on one hand, it's a very personal story. On the other hand, it's also a very current story about what's happening in our neighborhoods and in our communities.
So talk to me about the move and coming here from Ethiopia to America. Was it a big challenge for you?
It was a big change. I had lived in the US before. For my husband, it was the first time. And really, coffee kind of permeates our story because in Ethiopia, that's where coffee, it's the birthplace of coffee. And there's a huge culture there around coffee. And that is a coffee and community culture. And so there, it would be really unimaginable that somebody would drink coffee alone. You drink coffee with friends, with family. It's how you get your news. It's how you learn about what happened on the sports. It's where you learn about the latest gossip, it's all around coffee and family and communities. And so when we came here, we wanted our business to reflect some of that coffee culture that we love so much and tried to bring that into our business. So we like to think of it as the coffee house for that reason, which is different than, in a shop you might just go and buy your coffee, but in a coffee house, maybe you stay a while.
Yeah.
And you chat and you get to know your neighbors.
How long did it take you to get the business up and going?
We moved to New York in 2011. We opened our first tiny coffee shop in Washington Heights in 2012. So within 14 months, we had opened our first location. Yeah.
And so then the book, here comes the book, right?
Yes.
And so what made you say, okay, I need to write about this?
I was so inspired by what I saw happening in the shops and how people were coming together. Well, we hear a lot of really bad news. And what I was seeing was people who take care of each other, people who are standing up for one another, people who are really inspiring me. And that's why I felt like this is a time to tell those stories too.
And so as you go through the book, what are we going to find?
Well, you're going to find out a lot about us.
That's a wonderful story. It's a wonderful story.
But you're going to find, I'd say the book would be interested for anybody who has traveled or dreams of traveling, anybody who maybe is a more recent activist and feels like they want to make a difference, parents with small children. There's a lot of parenting things in there too, or small business owners, or people who want to start a business. So there are different, like all of our stories, right? We're not just about one thing.
Right.
So it's multidimensional. It brings in our family life, but our business life, but also our life in the community and in this country.
So you start with one business, right? And then you move to multiple locations. How does that feel for you, having this one dream that actually just bursts out in these different places now?
Yeah. It's at times it can feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
I have to say that for the first 5 years, we stayed put in our one location. We really learned the business. We learned the community. We, really had a lot of work to do. And so it's only more recently that we've started to grow the business. Our girls were also young, so we were making a choice about how much time we wanted to spend away from them. But our second location is in Riverdale in the Bronx, and we've just opened in Inwood in northern Manhattan. So, and the nice thing about it is that the neighborhoods are very interconnected. We find people who live in one place, work in another place, or have family in another place. So there's a lot of interconnection between those three locations.
You say like right up the block is what we call it, right?
Yes.
Just go right up the block, and you can have this here. So, your coffee, Ethiopian?
Yes.
I figured, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Ethiopian and different types. So there are different types of coffee in Ethiopia. We really highlight those. But our house blend is a blend that we make ourselves, which is Ethiopian and Latin, to also reflect, the communities that we're in. And it's I sound like I'm bragging, but it's fantastic.
No.
Come and try it.
Right, a poor frog doesn't salute its own pond, right? So there you go. We want to tell people, if you want to find out a little bit more, there's a book that's available, there's coffee that's available, there's a story that's being told. But really, when you talk about coffee shops, they really have transitioned. I mean, we talk about barbershops, right?
Yes.
A lot goes on in the
Yes.
barbershop.
Yes.
A lot goes on in the beauty shop.
Yes.
But a coffee shop does have its own dynamic to it. And so when you talk about the difference that the coffee shop makes, talk about what do you feel is the major difference that goes on in that dynamic?
Well, I think there are all different kinds, right? There are places where people just go to work. They have their headset on, they're focused on their laptop, and these days, a lot of people are looking for a place to work, and that's understood. But I think when you're a place that's rooted in a community, then a lot is happening there. Where people are meeting friends. We talk about doing a series about all the things that were started at Buunni. People have done their own projects and following their own dreams and things that have started, or people that have made connections and really continued that. There are, writers that meet, there are knitters that meet, there are all kinds of groups. People that write postcards especially during the recent midterm elections, postcard writing, phone banking. There was all kinds of activism happening in the shops.
Wow. Buunni Coffee. I want to tell you about Coffeehouse Resistance, and make sure that you get a copy of the book. Glad to have you. So you're in 3 different locations. People can find you everywhere in these 3 different locations, but I want to let you know too that Coffeehouse Resistance is now available everywhere. Books, ebooks are also being sold. And now, if you want more information, all you have to do is contact Sarina, and you can find out more about her new book. Visit buunnicoffee.com. Once again, buunnicoffee.com. And thank you so much for coming and sharing with us.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you.